How's it going, guys? David Hedge here, House Hedge Gaming, and today we got some news for you that's pertaining to Magic the Gathering, Ravensburger, Upper Deck, Lorcana, Lord of the Rings, and Gen Con, and so much more. But before I get into the news, just want to give you a heads up of what to expect here on the channel over the next few weeks leading up to Indianapolis, Indiana, and Gen Con 2023. So, I have been doing a video series of games that you could take on the go for your next adventure, but also showing you spots here in the Roanoke Valley to where if your travels have you going through the Star City, definitely check out these places for any of your trading card needs, pop culture needs, board game needs, comic book needs, or if you need to just have fun. These are places to definitely check out. Next one coming up will be for Sushi Go and checking out Big Lit Comics. So definitely check that out next week. But between those videos, you're going to be seeing news videos like this one. Also, games that I'm looking to pick up at Gen Con, what I'm expecting to see at Gen Con. Like, it's going to be Gen Con, guys. So if you want board games and all that, every other week. If you want to hear about Gen Con and what's coming out and what to expect to see at the event, definitely join me on those weeks. And if you just want to join me each and every week here, then by all means, keep doing it. But with all that being said, let's talk some news. And first off, there is now a $1 million Magic the Gathering card bounty that is out there right now. Let's talk about it. Okay, so, yeah, I said it. There's a $1 million card, at least worth $1 million, out there in the world somewhere, thanks to Magic the Gathering, Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, and the newest set, Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth. Now, from a player perspective, I'm looking forward to this set. This set is an amazing set, very flavorful. The artwork is amazing. The mechanics are true to form. All the different aspects of this game is going to be turned upside down because of Lord of the Rings. I mean, you get Smaug. You get this big dragon, and you get to create 14 treasures off of this dragon when it dies. Now, that's talking about getting the dragon's hoard right there. But we're not talking about that dragon's hoard. What we're talking about now is the one-of-one ring. Wizards of the Coast, earlier this year, announced that they were going to do a one-of-one ring that will be put in the collector booster packs for Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. And when this video comes out, it'll be the 13th. This weekend, you will be able to get to play in pre-releases and pick up product for Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth at your friendly local game store. And among those products are the collector boosters that you will be able to open up the one-of-one ring. Now, before I talk about that, there are other rings that people might have forgotten about. There are the Rings of Man, the Rings of Elves, and the Rings of Dwarves. Those are in the collector boosters as well, and those are serialized. Now, between all of those, you have about 15,000 copies of those cards total. I think it was like 3,000, 7,000, and 9,000 respectively. I could be wrong on that, and if I am, just see the little ticker on the bottom that will say that I'm wrong, and will give you the actual numbers. But everyone is focusing on the One Ring. We are now entering Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory territory here, because everybody is starting to get collector booster packs. There are people on Whatnot that were getting collector booster packs, and don't know how they got them. They said it was legal. Hopefully the Pinkerton group thinks so as well. But we're now seeing offers for the One Ring, and these offers are insane. First off, Cassius Marsh and Cash Cards Unlimited put out a bounty of $150,000, and he will fly you to California to sell the card. Then people online were going, hey, that's a little bit low. This card may be worth a lot more than that. So Cassius Marsh went, okay, done deal. $500,000 for the one-of-one ring. And then David Adams Card World, just a few short days later, went, hey, could you hold my booster pack real quick? $1 million for the person that sells it to them, and they will come to you to collect their bounty. Now, the David Adams Card World bounty is a time-limit bounty to July 17th, and the card's going to get opened. The question is, where is it going to be open, and who's going to open it? Will it be a trading card game store that opens it up, and they'll just hold on to it and have it be a showcase in their store? Or will it be a player like you and me? We go to our friendly local game store, we open the pack right there. The big question is, what would you do with that money? Because $1 million, when I thought about this before, I was thinking no more than $500,000 would this thing be worth. And I was wrong, tremendously wrong. But $1 million, if you get paid that much for that one of one ring, that is the most anybody will pay for one card. The next highest would be the $800,000 that Post Malone paid for Black Lotus. But for $1 million, say if that falls into a regular player's hand, what would you do with the money? $1 million can go a long way. For me, I'd get out of debt, have a nice house, and save the rest, invest it somehow. But that's just me. I would also maybe give me a little bit of extra carrying cash for multiple trips next year. But comment below, let me know, what would you do? If you open up the One Ring, would you save it? Would you hold on to it? Or would you take up one of these offers or any other offers that may be floating out there by the time this video comes out? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, next up, I want to talk a little bit about Lorcana because, well, Lorcana has gotten hit twice in as many weeks over certain issues that have come up about the game. So first, let's go with Gen Con's issues first. So Lorcana has events at Gen Con, which are demo events and a few sealed tournament events as well. And they had the tickets sell out almost immediately when event registration opened just a few short weeks ago. Then I was able to get one of those tickets. I'm in one of the sealed demos. But I got a letter in my email from Gen Con saying that if you purchased multiple tickets of Lorcana, that it was an issue with the system and that they would be refunding you your money for all those tickets except one. Now, the question is, was it really a system error, or was it at regards to a request that Ravensburger made to them about wanting more people into their events? Some people were not happy about this because they were getting tickets for others that wanted to play. Then again, there are some people that probably wanted to get into the events, get the sealed decks, and then immediately turn around and sell those on eBay or whatnot, or whatever format they want to sell them at, and make a bunch of money off of them. But Ravensburger and Gen Con has put a stop to that by getting all those tickets refunded and then getting them back out to more players. Now, for me personally, I would rather see a lot more players get their hands on the product and get word out there of how good this game is going to be, instead of somebody buying up a bunch of tickets and getting a bunch of the decks and then going online and selling them for about 50, 60, 70 bucks before the game even comes out. I never liked it when collectible action figures and all, when there were chase figures and there's pop chase figures, somebody would go to all these different stores around and get the chase figures and then go online and sell them for a bunch of money. I know you can make a living off of it, but for me, I'd rather have a lot of people get their hands on the stuff at an affordable price than I would jack up the price and make a boatload of money and possibly take away from somebody's experience in a store. So, but that's just me, and that's all I got on that. But if Ravensburger is doing it for that reason, I do understand. You want to get as many people to play your game as possible. But there was nowhere in any advertising for the Lorcana events that you were able to see that you only get one for a demo and one for a tournament. They didn't allow you to have the option of which one you want to play, and they didn't give you the chance to go, hey, you can only get one of each. You can't get a bunch of them and get all the decks. So it was a little bit of miscommunication on Ravensburger's side, and Gen Con handled it as best they could. But again, some people are going to be upset, and I completely understand that, especially if you're a person that was buying for other people. Now you have to hope that they got in on their own, because everybody that goes to the events will have to have their ticket, but also have their ID to prove that it's them getting into the event. So with that being said, I'll have my ID ready, and I'll get my deck. I will open it up and see what I have in there, and hopefully I get maybe a Jafar or some villainy going on. Who knows? But that's just part one of what Lorcana has been going through in Ravensburger Games. The following week, which was actually this past week, there was a notice from Upper Deck that said that they were suing Ravensburger and one of their employees because of game mechanics that were originally developed in Upper Deck. Now, if you want to know the full story, the full press release, I'll include that in the description below. But this is going to be a little bit weird for Lorcana and Ravensburger. They are on the cusp of having this highly anticipated game to come out, and now Upper Deck is putting out this information right when the game is getting ready to go. And for me, if it would make sense to me if a few months ago you would see, hey, Upper Deck's doing this. But I also understand the legal system does take a good while to actually do what it needs to do. So Upper Deck following up on this and going, hey, wait a minute, that's something that we use in this game. They're going to try and stop this from having Lorcana come out on time. Now, Ravensburger has said they have not received anything yet. But this is a story I'm going to keep an eye on because this can affect something that I'm going to play in at Gen Con. And hopefully everything will be fine. Everything will be settled. No problem. But I did get a chance to take a look at the game mechanics that they're comparing Lorcanas to. And there is a few similarities, but there's also some differences. So it's going to be interesting to see what they have in store over the next few weeks. But stay right here to House Hedge Gaming, and I'll be more than glad to let you know when I find out something. All right, next up, let's talk a little bit about Gen Con because, well, I like Gen Con. Gen Con, the event catalog is up and running, and they are loading in so many more events for this year. This year is going to end up being pre-pandemic levels more so than what it was last year. And as of right now, you have the Magic the Gathering events added, Pokemon events are added, Yu-Gi-Oh events are being added, and all the top TCGs, the mainstays, are starting to get their moments in the sun for the events catalog for Gen Con. So for Magic the Gathering, you're going to have Commander Masters making its release at the event. You're going to have sealed events. You're going to have pre-constructed battles, which if you get into a pre-constructed battle for Commander Masters, you're either getting slivers, you're getting planeswalkers, you're getting Eldrazi, or you're getting enchantments. All of those are not bad consolation prizes to get, just to get into the event. Now, if you get slivers or Eldrazi, you're riding high because those two will probably have some great reprints. The Planeswalker decks should have some really cool stuff in there. I wonder if Wizards will be brave enough to put a Jace the Mind Sculptor in that deck. I hope so. And then you have the Enchantress deck, which is going to be very interesting to see how they do that one. Because there's so many different enchantments they could put in there that I've never really seen reprints. And hopefully we'll see them in this deck. So, but if you're in the Magic the Gathering, you got plenty of events there. If you're in the Pokemon, you got sealed and constructed events. If you're a Yu-Gi-Oh duelist, you got games to play. This Gen Con is shaping up to be one of the biggest ones, especially since they had some renovations at the Indianapolis Convention Center. They have new hotels getting built. They moved the street party to be a lot bigger than what it was last year, and so much more. And I'll go into that in a future video. But if you're going to Gen Con, check out the events page right now and see if you can get in some cool events. I guarantee you'll find something. And if you don't, let me know in the comments below, because I like to hear about it. I know Gen Con like to hear about it, so they can have it ready for you next year. Trust me. Well, there you have it. That is some news for you. We covered a little bit of Magic, a little bit of Lorcana, a little bit of Gen Con, but most importantly, thank you guys for joining me on this little news video. So thank you so much for watching, and if you liked it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let everybody know that House Hedge Gaming is here for all of your gaming needs. So until next time, guys, stay safe and take care.